So hello and welcome to the New Gig podcast. I'm your host, Glen Hodgson, and today I'm delighted to be joined by podcaster and business owner, Klara Tuličić. How are you doing, Klara?
I'm doing great. I'm super happy to talk to you today. And thank you, of course, for the invite.
It's an absolute pleasure to have you on. And let's just begin by hearing a little bit about your background and also a little bit about the journey as well. How did you realize that kind of a 9-to-5 setup wasn't the right fit for you?
First of all, I basically what my job is. My job is to help business owners to reach more audience, or maybe gain competitive advantage, or basically fulfill some other goals. And I do that through social media marketing and video marketing. Besides that, I have a big passion, just like you have here, or a job also. And that is I produce and host a podcast for my local audience here in Croatia. And that's basically it. But for my further background, let's say that I studied in high school tourism, in college tourism, culture and tourism. And suddenly I'm here more than 5 years working in marketing. So yeah, that is quite the experience from going, let's say, from abandoning, let's say that way, formal education and starting something for myself where I learned everything from scratch. I didn't have some big mentors and so on and so forth. But yeah, I definitely had experiences where I worked in marketing agency with 200 and plus people. I worked in companies that also have several hundreds people where I worked in marketing department and so on, but I also worked as a freelancer. So I believe I have some insight in different types of work environments. And now I'm just a solopreneur. I have some associates who I love working with, but I'm not sure if I would be happy working in basically company of several hundred people anymore. So yeah, that's that.
Excellent. So it's been a bit of a journey. You've tested it, you've tried it, and you realize you found something that more fits your way of working, but also more flexibility, I guess.
Absolutely. And maybe I should actually give maybe a deeper background. I'm the only child. Sports that I've taken are gymnastics and taekwondo. So it's pretty solo journey, let's say that way, in my life. So it's not that I'm not a team player. I actually participated in many team activities that went great. But at the same time, that flexibility that solo life or a solo business presents is something that is much more suitable for me. I'm more productive. I actually get more output than trying to fit into company culture, dealing with maybe some negativity or bad communication that often actually happens in companies. And that's not something I find like it shouldn't happen, because simply there are too many people, characters are different, and besides, not everyone is a friend on the street. So why should everyone be the perfect family in the companies, which we see often on LinkedIn, especially lately, how people are saying your company is not your family, which I absolutely agree. But I think that came from all those struggles, let's say, that way, from companies to create that perfect work environment for everyone. So that, but yeah, that doesn't work basically.
Exactly. Well, I think you're absolutely right. And I think some of the toxic elements of corporate culture, with the negativity, the people who maybe aren't sort of motivated, and also just when you see it from the inside as well, a lot of people maybe, not with the expertise or the talent or the engagement to drive themselves forward. And it's certainly something that I see in the kind of the freelancing project world. People are really driven. They enjoy, love what they're actually doing, and they've got a passion for it. Whereas most corporate entities, you've got sort of over 50% of the workforce who don't really want to be there. And I think this really shows as well.
Absolutely. And I will once again go back to LinkedIn because I really, there's a big spectrum of people in business. So there's really a lot to read and hear. But one lady said, and I read it this morning, that they had to do great layoffs at their company and everyone was great. Everyone was perfect. So next week she will write the list of those who got laid off, and maybe someone else can employ them, which is maybe a nice gesture. But at the same time, I'm kind of skeptical. You as a VP of human resources know every one of them and can, guarantee for every single employee. So I think it goes maybe into some further stretches, trying to gain that, like, we are perfect, and that simply is not that way. And I believe we can also approach it from some other perspectives. Look, like Klara didn't fit here because she's maybe not as team driven as someone else is, but yeah, she would be let's say perfect for you to create create content maybe where she's just with her phone and some audio and so on and so forth. I mean, I'm just doing a little too broad maybe a perspective here, but yeah, I believe that we need to be more realistic. Also in a solopreneur life, there are many challenges, of course. So it's not like this is also perfect. I'm not saying that.
No, but I think it also, you hit onto a very important theme there, the fact that by doing projects, you have a sort of beginning, middle, and an end, and you get feedback very quickly. It's not a case of either a 6-monthly or an annual review of your performance. By doing lots of projects for different individuals, you get very specific feedback, and on an ongoing rolling basis as well, which helps you learn, helps you grow, and actually helps you do a better job as well, I think.
Absolutely. And this is maybe my negative experience with mentoring. Basically, I'm not saying that every mentor is like that, because I know there are many fantastic ones. But at one company, which was also one of the bigger ones, my mentor was simply non-interested. I was in different department than the mentor, and everything was so like, I didn't feel any support there. I felt like I was thrown in the fire at my work, work. So that was actually really sad, and I believe that was the part that led me to possible, let's say, burnout at that company. So yeah, that is difficult, going back and forth with mentors. Well, yeah, as you said here, I know specifically like, oh my God, I shouldn't have done that. That is something I won't do again. And then you do it in some other form on some other project. But basically, it's process that you have to go through to simply learn and let's say skyrocket yourself to your some limits. And then when you reach those limits, then you push them once again, and basically then sky's the limit, I guess.
Well, it is. And I think that it's interesting you're talking about sort of the life of a solo entrepreneur. And it would be really interesting to hear a few more of the kind of the benefits, but also some of the sort of the barriers and the, shall we say, more negative elements of this too.
Yes, I believe that some of the most positive elements are also some of the most negative, and I'll explain that in a second. So basically, when you're a solopreneur, it's very easy to procrastinate. It's super easy. There are no some barriers. Sometimes there are strict deadlines which you have to fulfill. But at the same time, because some maybe procrastination happens, you learn over the time. Okay, so I can build some habits, and let's say Google Calendar for me doesn't work, but my version of bullet journal works. So I learned how to manage my time, how to avoid challenges like procrastination that's more and more talked about in the business, which at the same time is negative. But throughout my experience, I learned how to deal with it, how to almost eliminate it, and to spend my time also. For example, I believe that just a second, in company there's a lot of multitasking. You need to track your time, but everything gets lost in the way. While when you are a solopreneur, I believe it's much more easier to track time and learn how you are spending it and focus your energy better. So maybe I got lost, so I will simply sum it up here, that advantages, of course, the flexibility. You can work wherever and whenever you want, basically.
Yes.
But at the same time, you have that process of self-discovery, not only in business, but also on what suits you best, while at the same time, you can see more easily, I believe, that what are your bad sides, while in the company, in my experience, actually everything got mixed up. So you're not sure if you're cranky because of that person that maybe is a little bit evil towards you, if I may say, or if it's because there's some deadline and there are simply so many feelings. Well, here you're much more mindful, I believe. So that is some of the benefits, and also procrastination is one of the negative sides. What I also find negative is maybe not on the internal part, but on the external, how you present yourself. Often people in big companies see you as maybe some kid from the block, because you are not in a part of some greater system, and they don't see your values and possibilities as they should have, maybe. Or but that is also one process of learning how to present yourself towards people like that. So I mean, there's so many advantages and disadvantages, and in the end, everything depends on what type of person you are. So what suits me doesn't mean it suits you, or some other person, basically.
Yeah, this is something I hear a lot, actually, and I think it's this sort of the education process of companies and organizations who need to integrate solo entrepreneurs, freelancers, contractors better into their business. The fact that sometimes they don't really know how to deal with them, how to treat with them, or be able to sort of accept them on as an equal, and not just a second-class system that citizen that they can bring in and get rid of when they want, because they've got sort of freelancers have very specific skills, talent, knowledge. It's actually treating them as an equal, bringing them into the organization and using their talents in the best way possible. Surely that's something that's good for everyone. And I think it's probably, as I see it as an education process for companies as well, how to do this properly.
Absolutely. And people are learning more and more. I mean, gig economy and as gig and also as a freelancers, let's say that they are evolving rapidly, I believe, especially as there are many, as we spoke now, also solopreneurs who need some special service that they don't need 365 days a year. They need it 3 days a year, for let's say that way. But also people are recognizing in big companies now that they can't treat freelancers also like their regular workers. For example, I heard multiple examples that let's say your ordinary worker or employee, that they simply stay overtime, while a freelancer has a strict contract. They have maybe a number of hours, or maybe some deliverables, or something that contract says. And often companies say like, yeah, but you should stay overtime because our employees are staying overtime, and we are on a strict deadline. And freelancers in the past maybe didn't know how to handle that, while today they are also learning how to deal with companies, how to deal with contracts, and they are developing businesses of their own. They are much more than freelancers that have a specific skill set. They are also a true business person, people, actually.
Yeah, because you've got to do your own, you've got to look for work, you've got to do work, and then you have to kind of look after sort of the administration as well, make sure your taxes are paid, making sure the invoices are sent out and everything's well prepared. So I think the discipline involved in sort of running a business, running a corporation is also a very valid and also strength that can be brought in from the kind of solo entrepreneur side as well.
Absolutely. And also it brings more knowledge into everything, although you are not a specialist in accounting, let's say that way, but you know something, a little bit of that, while, for example, you bring some other employee in company who is maybe specialized for IT department, and they have they know nothing about accounting. But when you need to maybe learn something or share some knowledge, there's much bigger process of speaking to someone who understands a little bit of, I know, if the topic is money in the company maybe, while someone from IT department, it doesn't. This is just an example. I'm not saying that someone in the IT department doesn't know accounting. That's the first thing that came to my mind. But yeah, feel free to ask more detailed questions if I'm going a little bit too broad, because we can see that freelancing world is truly like a world in itself, basically. And yeah,
it really is. And I think as well, from your perspective, you deal with technology. It's an integral part of your business and your offering to companies and organizations. And how does that actually, the technology element, affect how you find work and how you do work? Do you work a lot locally, or do you do sort of remote assignments for companies? How's the average split, would you say, Klara?
First of all, I do locally, but on Croatian level. So basically, I have more clients outside the local community where I live in, but more in capital of Croatia and other regions of Croatia. So that's kind of remote work, but at the same time quite local, because if I go to southern part of Croatia, I need to go maybe for 8 or 10 hours of driving, let's say that way. So it's not some super distant locations, but definitely, for example, I sent an email yesterday in America. And I'm still looking for waiting for the reply. But if there's no this digital part of business, let's say that way, I'm not sure if sending an email to America would be so easy, or even if my paper mail would reach the destination properly in time. Who knows how long would it take actually to do business and to have negotiations, to create a contract and everything. I believe that this is also speeding things up super quick. So that is nice part, definitely.
Well, absolutely. And I know also that you have strong feelings about sort of the way the education system is set up, the way in which it's kind of forcing people to kind of this employee mentality that they should work for one organization, for selling their time, to a monopoly in that sense. Just say a little bit more about this, because I think it's interesting about the way in which the world of work is changing. And of course, the education system goes hand in hand in with developing the workforce and giving them the skills and knowledge they need to be relevant today.
Yes, absolutely. I believe that education is crucial from not only in college and high school, but also in younger ages. And I believe teachers are doing one of the most important jobs in the world. Absolutely. But also, unfortunately, barrier of entry for a teacher and teacher motivation is often low. So there's like that maybe a paradox. I'm not sure if that would be a proper name or a term for that, but absolutely. Also as I mentioned you previously, that my parents are both blue-collar workers, not on some high position, and their whole life they appreciated safety of the job, that they know that paycheck is coming at a certain certain time, and that was enough for them. They didn't care, as we spoke about, work environment. Actually, they did, but they didn't do anything about it if it was not the good environment. And that is also part, I believe, of education. So personally, I'm not some entrepreneur that could see my parents work, how they run their business. And at the same time, in high school, also in college, I didn't think I will be a solopreneur because everything that we did, okay, you are now in college. We hope one day after a lot of work, you will come to some manager position. And they didn't speak about entrepreneurship. So even in the economics class or economics studies, they encourage you to maybe if you are doing macroeconomics, to do it for someone else, like learn the analysis and how to replicate those analysis on someone else's company, not on how to use that knowledge for yourself, let's say that way. That's only the thing that I believe. And also, since we spoke about digitalization, that books and mandatory literature cannot follow the trends, not only the trends, but where the world is going. So people who, let's say, study marketing, after 5 years of studying marketing, they have already all literature. And also the tech studies and so on and so forth. I mean, like, I believe that governments should come and say, like, sorry guys, we had this educational system for so many years now, and we can't keep it sustainable, actually, because this is not the way the world is working. So here we are. In the next 2 years, we will plan how to do a true reformation of educational system, not just a new curriculum or something else. And through that, I believe they should say, we don't want to put you all in the same box. You maybe like solopreneuring, you like maybe working for someone else, you maybe, I'm not sure, you maybe simply want to be a YouTube creator, which is also perfectly fine. And it's also a new type of job. I mean, okay, so now I'm going all the way around, but also through education, we can see that education can't follow actually what jobs there are today. Because sorry.
No, I think that's important to be able to say that it needs to match the marketplace and the evolving world. And I think that the labor market is moving so quickly that the education system needs to be able to try and keep up, so that people entering the labor market feel that they have the skills, knowledge, and expertise to make them employable, to make them able to earn a living, whether it's they want to be a 9-to-5 worker, whether they want to be a solo entrepreneur, however they want to be able to do this, but to be equipped with the right skills to be able to do that.
Absolutely. And also skill set that we are talking about through education is simply not enough. And for example, the thing I do in marketing and in everything, I start with sales funnel, for example. So when I create a post, when I send an email, when I do everything else, actually, I try to go through some sales funnel. Also, let's say copywriting is incredibly important skill that not many people are even aware of. And for this is just an example, but knowing sales funnel, knowing copywriting, at least some basics are, I believe, are going to get people much further than if they simply try to do it without any structure. Because if you know how to write copy, you can adjust yourself and write a great sales email. You also know about how sales funnel works, so you know how to maybe turn someone from unaware of you and your product to someone who is may be interested, and then after a while decides to buy, of course. And maybe you can write a great sales page on your website, or you can simply hold much better presentations because you simply know how to that story through to the audience, basically.
No, I think these are skills that are vital. And of course, different mediums, and especially now that we're getting more towards channels which require us to be very brief, to get across a message very, very quickly, and also incorporating images and video to be able to supplement the text. I think this is a crucial part of the way communications are going. But it's been fantastic to be able to sort of speak to you, have you share your thoughts, views, and experiences. And we look forward to keeping in contact and hearing about the journey and the new developments as well.
Thank you very much. I was really glad to speak to you, and that you gave me the opportunity basically to speak this broad about things that are actually really on my mind, and that I would love to speak more often to people about them, you know, because also these are not the things that are some general topics in society.
Absolutely. Well, thank you very much indeed, and we'll speak again soon.
Thank you.